Hey, what's up? J4T4 MFCOMMAND. Glad you decided to join me. So, this might be a follow-up, if it's not staggered out, to my initial Cancer Journals video around the week of... you know what? I should have looked at the date. I might even be... Can I pull it up real quick without fucking up shit? May 13th. Immediately after recording that initial video, I did have come to mind what I was forgetting that I want to talk about is considerations of why I am not seeking further treatment until otherwise, or until it is totally resolved. Okay, one, I've mentioned I have depression, anxiety, ADHD. From an infant, I can remember the feeling of wanting to not be alive or to die. Not necessarily kill myself, not necessarily going out of my way seeking to be killed or murdered or dying. But I remember being an infant, like so small that I got to actually like climb on the bed rather than, now as we're adults, all we got to do is walk by and sit down or whatever. But that young, I don't remember if I was laying on the bed or laying on the floor, but I remember looking up at the window, and it's actually the same place I record all these games. When you see that window behind me, I remember looking out the window, just not wanting to be alive or wanting to die, or not necessarily kill myself, but it's like, I don't want to fucking be alive. And for a long time, I obviously did not know how to communicate or vocalize that. And when I did, finally, around 8 years old, all I did was, I want to fucking kill myself. I want to kill myself. It was usually over a lot of dumb shit, but at the same time, it's also like, all the little dumb shit kind of adds up, right? But you know what? I'm too chicken shit. Otherwise, I would have done it long ago. Like, I'm afraid of heights, and I don't... if I feel depression itself is painful enough, I don't want to go out painfully, right? Otherwise, I did buy a gun. Had it for like 2 or 3 years, and I got it with the the sole purpose of shooting myself. I was too chicken shit to do it. I don't want to hang myself because... even while waiting for that to strangle me while I'm dying, I'll still be conscious. Or even if it snaps my neck, I'll probably still be conscious. I don't really want to cut myself or stab myself or whatever, because even that doesn't feel too nice. Like, I'd superficially cut the shit out of my arms, but, aside from once... not requiring stitches. You might see it there. Let me see. Right there. Yeah, you can see it. Aside from that one time, I didn't realize the scissors were that sharp. Needed stitches, but usually just superficial cutting, self-harm, like, just enough to relieve that pressure, right? And then, can kind of calm down after that. So... but most of the time, the thoughts just manifest in either daydreams of where if I had that kind of courage to go out violently, then I would, and especially make a scene, and especially if that scene would initiate a change. Like, people see each other as human fucking beings, or grow that empathy, or better understanding, kindness, love. Like, I don't want to really exist in a world where numbers and profit are more important than love and kindness, right? Because money has never motivated me, really. Love has, though. But, for as long as I can remember, since a young age, I've wanted to die. At around 8 years old, I began to vocalize it. My parents were getting me into counseling, but they never really did like a straight up evaluation from what I can remember. And I remember a school counselor in grade school, she was like, you need to clean your shit up, otherwise they're going to fucking eat you alive. And it's like, that is some terrible advice to give a kid, especially, because evaluations that I've done being an adult, you go through all these questions and answers and kind of narrow down with, among all of those, what may or may not, that fall within the scope of. And, you know, I do have a great deal of the depression, anxiety, ADHD, sensory overload, this, that, and the third symptoms. And they always vary, you know, from one extreme to another, day by day, whatever. And now my new therapist is considering and observing that I might even have bipolar disorder, because I do go through periods of, like, you know, a hypermania or something. And but you know, they really should evaluate it when I was younger, because having outbursts in class just because I'm so bored and fucking understimulated, that right there could have been one of the very first signs that I do have ADHD. So anyway, you know, and I've struggled with it my entire adult life, and it made it difficult to hold down a job. How the fuck can I do customer service or sales when I'm already not that great of a communicator? And you need great communication skills for those kinds of job roles, but also, you know, any little bad customer or person, you know, any bad interaction where it's gonna fuck me up and throw me off, especially if I'm gonna have a fucking episode, a meltdown, whatever. You don't want somebody interacting with the public like that. And I can do it like limited amounts, or even for myself as I'm doing these YouTube things. But then having a manager or whatever breathe it on my neck, this, that, and the third. Dude, don't make me fucking strangle you. Although, you know, that's just daydreams. But as far as it manifests, like I kind of mentioned, you know, I want to die. I'm just not going out of my way to seek death, right? I just want to go to sleep and not wake up most days. You know, mostly during those really dark, depressing days. And those can be tough to get through. And considering that the conclusion of how my brain tumor will go is, I've read most times, is that I'll just probably lapse into a coma and not come back from it. Was talking to an acquaintance some time ago. She was kind of concerned. We don't talk anymore. I kind of want to be better friends with her, but can only do so much on my end, whatever. But she said her mom had a brain tumor. She didn't know it until her mom lapsed into a coma and they did an MRI, and then she died sometime later. But she also meant, because, you know, even with this shit going on, you know, I'll have mood swings, and I've noticed my mood swings are a lot more sensitive or more susceptible to even like little things. Or, you know, I can wake up one morning where it's just like, you know what, I am at my fucking max as far as stress goes. I don't need nothing more today, otherwise I'm gonna fucking snap. And that's how I self-harmed at work. Woke up early having a fucking seizure. Already didn't get enough sleep. Couldn't go back to sleep. Took my ass into work anyway when I should have stayed home. And, you know, at least appreciate I came into work to do my fucking job. And I'm doing my job more than fucking off. But nope, you're working too slow. You're out of this department. Can't work here no more. But that's Amazon for you. If they want to get rid of you, they looking for a reason to. They making marks against you. They're going to pull any reason out they ask, no matter how far they got to dig. Yeah. And of course, feedback from other people that, you know, I talked to that were in that department for as long, if not longer than I was. They've kept people that were consistently working slower than I was. And, you know, I should have fucking stayed home. But anyway, I lost track of where I was going with that. But it's like, you know, if I'm already feeling like I want to die most of the time, put me in a stressful job role or an environment is not going to help matters, none at all. And I forget, I've gotten totally off track. I'm sorry, my head's itching, so they say they don't want me to itch, just pat my head. So by the time I pull all of this off tomorrow morning, I'm going to have a concussion probably. I'm not hitting myself that hard, but that'd be amusing. That's an amusing joke, I thought. I feel like at a point, I was pretty much describing the trajectory throughout my life as far as, you know, not wanting to be alive goes. But anyway, this acquaintance that I want to be better friends with, her mom lapsed into a coma, and I forget the time frame she described, but it sounded like a couple of years, is that her mom's personality had changed so much she just was not the person that she knew. And I think it sounded like her mom died when she was still like a teenager, if not early teens, maybe still even before she was 10 years old. But she said, her mom was loving, and then she just seemed like a total stranger, a person she did not even know, around the time, because her personality had changed so much, she didn't even seem like a person she knew by the time she lapsed into that coma and died. And then learning about it, she was like, wow, okay, now she understands what all that was about. And I really hope I don't change all too much. As far as my concern goes, I'm going to just keep trying to be a better person. And if I'm going to be spending the rest of my life doing that, which I would suggest you undertake that challenge as well, just try to be a better person. It's a lifelong challenge, and I'm up for that. I'm cool with that. And I just hope I don't change and divert and make too many mistakes from that path, right? So, and if I was in a chicken shit, I probably would have killed myself long ago. So, as far as death and suicidal ideologies goes, since a young age, really hard to hold down a job when I just want to feel like I want to die all day, and that's before any additional job or stress on set by shitty managers or asshole co-workers. So that's another point, along with the poverty and worry of homelessness. Like if I'd never had to worry about being a homeless again, if poverty wasn't a constant drag, relieving all of that would just give me a little bit more ability and room to breathe, and more likely to experience not only joy but maybe even happiness. And it's rare that I ever experience happiness. I think I'm going to take a break, be back here in a moment, because I did remember another point I wanted to touch on. Anyway, okay. Cool seeing you. I'll see you again soon.